On the GameSpot stage on day 2 of E3, I'm your host Cam Robinson, and it's a pleasure to have Atsu with me. How you doing, Atsu?
Good.
Great to meet you. So we're going to be talking all about Dark Souls 2, the first piece of DLC for Dark Souls 2, Crown of the Sunken King.
Yes.
So I think we got a trailer. Shall we just go straight to the trailer?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go straight to the trailer. And it looks just like me. Here it is. Lots of underground pyramids and new bosses and things going on there. So tell me how is this new? Because it's three DLC parts. Here, my words are coming there. 3 different sections of DLC, right? Okay, so tell me, what's the plan with that? Are they all based around a search for a different crown? Is that how it works?
Yes. So, you know, after we actually released the game, we were really surprised about the game being received so good reputation from both fans and media in the Western market. And so we have decided to create the 3 DLCs only after we release the main game.
Oh, wow. So this wasn't the original plan.
Yeah,
you were just like,
we were really working on a tight schedule.
It wasn't even that long ago, you know. That's impressive.
Right?
Quick turnaround.
Yeah. So, you know, since the main game itself is already providing a complete experience, so we decided to provide additional situations, additional level designs to the players. So we have decided to come up with the 3 DLCs. So basically 3 DLCs. Each of the DLC is featuring really unique situations. The first DLC, the Crown of Sunken King, is taking place at the poison ruins located really under deeper in the ground. And the second DLC taking place at the the deeper inside of the Iron Keep in the main game. And the third DLC is taking place at the super cold area covering the snow and ice. That's the situation taking place in each DLC.
Okay, great. So tell me more about the Crown of the Sunken King in particular. Like, who is the Sunken King? What's it all about?
The crown, those 3 crowns, those are used to belong to the Drowned Greg's King Bandrick in the main game. So the player's mission is to basically search for those lost 3 clowns in each of the 3 DLCs.
Apart from the situations, which are obviously different, the environments in your 3 DLC, what else is going to be unique? Are there going to be unique new boss types in each? Is the difficulty going to be different across all 3? Tell me about
question. So the difficulty level of each DLC will be relatively higher than those other maps available in the main game.
Okay.
That is because we're pretty much assuming that the experienced Dark Souls 2 players will be able to access to each DLC. That is that, as a matter of fact, there's some certain conditions that the players need to meet in the main game, in order to access to the 3 DLCs. That is to get the Ashen Heart core in the game, and then at least visit the Undead Crypt. That is the conditions they have to meet. This is pretty much latter part of the game, so I believe that only experienced players will be able to access to the 3 DLCs. And also, not only that, but in addition to the main loot, we will be having a challenging route in each DLC.
So explain that, a challenging route. Okay,
yes.
so you can go one way, the standard way, or you can take the really difficult path. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a difficult path.
Okay.
And we're assuming that most of the players will try to complete this challenging route by a co-op. So there's an interesting points that I want to highlight here, that we're expecting, although only a DLC purchaser will be able to access to most of the part of the each DLC, but there's an exception. That is the challenging loot. For this part, we're hoping that not only the DLC purchaser, but even non-DLC purchaser to be summoned by DLC purchaser in order to do a
wow.
co-op. That is a really, I believe this is a very interesting feature for the
So
DLC.
if you don't have the DLC, someone who does can summon you into their game.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
That's how it works.
How does that work in terms of the content, though? I mean, how will the person be able to be summoned into the game if they don't have the DLC installed?
Basically, how it works is it depends on the hardware, but in most cases, all Dark Souls 2 players will be downloading the compatibility pack.
Gotcha.
And DLC purchaser will be downloading additional unlock key to unlock the DLC content. That's how
Right.
it works. So basically, everybody playing the Dark Souls 2 will have the same game data.
Yeah. So all the data is there. It's just you get access to
Yes,
it basically
yes.
if you buy the DLC.
That is
okay.
correct,
Excellent. That's a really cool idea. So with Dark Souls 1, you guys did produce DLC. You produced one massive. It was the Artorias of the Abyss,
Yes,
right? And that
yes.
was a huge piece of DLC.
Yeah.
Should we expect that Crown of the Sunken King is of a similar size, or are you doing like 3 smaller bits of DLC?
In terms of the game volume, for example, the map name appearing in the game screen is about approximately 3 to 5 per each DLC stage.
Okay.
It's similar to the Forest of Fallen Giants in the main game in terms of the game volume.
Okay.
But when you guys put all 3 DLCs together, the size of the 3 DLCs will become about like 1.5 times of the Artorias of the Abyss for the Dark Souls 1.
Okay. And do you purchase the DLCs like separately, or can you buy them all in advance, or how does that work?
Good question. We're not going to be forcing players to download all 3 DLCs. It's up to players which DLC they actually download. Even the turns that we're not going to forcing players to play DLCs in certain turns. It's up to players.
Okay.
But it depends on the platform. But for some platforms, we're going to be offering a season pass, so the players can get 3 DLCs in a discounted price. And I really recommend to get all 3.
I'm shocked that you would recommend that.
That is because when player complete all 3 DLCs, there will be a big surprise. So I want people to experience this big surprise.
Okay. Can we let's roll that B-roll again, actually, because I want to ask you a couple of questions just about the environment. Because it looks like you've got these underground pyramids. So where's the inspiration from that? Why did you go for these underground pyramids?
Again, the inspiration coming from the having the situation which was not available in the main game, because all 3 DLCs. Okay, as you can see, this is the part of the stages from the first DLC, but it takes place at the pyramid. Something exists in South America, similar to those something exists in South America.
Okay.
So we want to offer totally different experience that the people couldn't experience in the main game by this DLC.
And what are you fighting here? What were those enemies?
Or
can you not say?
Go into details.
Can't go into details.
We'll see. But the unique features is that in regards to the first DLC, not only the enemies but also the stage itself is something the player needs to conquer. There will be a lot of gimmicks that the player needs to turn on in order to get to the final destination. So there's a lot of booby traps and gimmicks.
Can you tell me about this enemy, or is this?
In regards to the enemy, not only the enemy, but the items, weapons, spells, everything is brand new for each DLC.
Okay.
Because of that, so we're planning to adjust the overall game balance when we release the DLC. So not only the DLC, but we also going to be releasing the regulation file as well as the latest patch file every time we release DLC in order to adjust the overall game balance.
Okay, excellent. So I mean, it is quite soon after the release of the main game. I mean, how did you guys manage to turn this around so quickly? How long have you had to work on this then?
Good question. Unlike the big DLC, the Artorias of the Abyss for the original Dark Souls, we have an issue with the schedule. We want to offer this DLC as soon as possible to the players. So that's why we have decided to create 3 separate DLC. In that way, we can offer each DLC as soon as possible to the gamers.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about. You mentioned this new kind of weapons and equipment and everything. Can you go into any specifics, like what type of new stuff will purchasers of the DLC be able to get their hands on?
Cannot go into details at this
Can't go
moment,
into
but
details,
even those items, weapons that the enemy or boss enemies are wearing, those are brand new. But so it should be interesting getting those.
Okay, and is the game going to be identical across, PS3, Xbox 360, PC? Is it going to be identical in all three? Okay.
Yes.
Same experience.
Yes, same experience.
Right. Okay. Well, how have you brought it to E3? Is it playable here? Can people get their hands on it at E3,
yeah.
or are you just showing off the kind of gameplay? What are you doing?
Bandai Namco Games, we're having the business booth upstairs, so all the media can able to access to the first DLC at our demo stations.
Oh, excellent! Right. And E3 this year has been really quite has been a huge success, I think, so far. I mean, we've seen a whole load of new games. We've seen some excellent stuff on the stage here as well. I'm just interested. What's the pick of what you've seen at E3 this year?
This year, I haven't had that much of a chance of visiting the other booth at the show floor, but I'm pretty excited seeing the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I want to do a demo.
It is playable at their booth, right?
Yeah. So
head round to Ubi and try and get on that.
Yeah, I should stop by there.
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned Assassin's Creed because it seems like the kind of fantasy genre is alive now like it's never been. It's the number of games, third person, first person, fantasy, fighting games are huge. I mean, so is there anything else? Which ones do you kind of look at and say, well, Dark Souls has got the really challenging kind of market covered, but what other games out there do you kind of look to for inspiration when you're creating DLC, when you're working on Dark Souls? What other ones do you really look at and think, yes?
Well, when it comes to DLC, I think the EA is a good example. I mean, I know actually Activision, they're well planned.
Yeah.
Especially in case of Call of Duty, they're well planned from the beginning. Unlike us, because as a matter of fact, we decided to create the 3 DLCs only after we released the main game. So
it's great
that's something we want to respect. We want to learn.
It's great that you're able to turn that around so quickly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on stage, and thank you so much for showing us your gameplay.
All right.
Excellent, and go and enjoy the rest of your 3, and make sure you get that Assassin's Creed demo.
Thank you. All right.